Okay, so I'm just checking that this is going to start. It's telling me that we are live. So, hello, gorgeous soul sister. How are you doing today? Happy weekend. I hope that you are doing well or that you are having, as my friend Lisa Payne likes to say, the best day available to you. Okay. So I am doing a video today. I'm actually doing a two-part video series on how you can create more emotional intimacy in your relationship. So I know that this is a theme that is so important for us in this community, relationship-minded women. We care. We care about having that deeper connection, that deeper sense of intimacy with our partner, or if we're single, our future partner. And we're on a journey of learning how we can create that fulfilling, healthy, vibrant, emotionally connected relationship that we're really looking for. And something that I love about our community is that we are willing to show up, to be imperfect, and to admit that we actually have something to learn, and that the art of intimacy, the craft of relationship is something that we are all learning every single day. We're practicing every single day. We're messing up maybe not every day, but occasionally, and we're learning from those experiences. So if you are that woman and you are looking for more emotional intimacy in your relationship or in your next relationship, this two-part video series is for you. And let me know if you're here, if you're watching today on your Sunday afternoon, if you're in kind of similar time zones to me, or it might be Sunday morning for you if you're in the US. If you're in Australia, oh my gosh, I'm not sure what time it is for you. I think you're ahead. So it might be very late on Sunday or maybe even early on Monday. But wherever you are in the world and whatever you're doing, thank you for deciding to be here today. And we are going to deep dive into this thing, which is why I've decided to spread it out into two separate videos, a two-part video series. But let me know if you're here. Say hi in the comments. Take part. Yeah, take part in the conversation. Let me know if you have any questions that come up or any stories that you want to share. And if you're watching this on the replay, then just leave a little hashtag replay, little cheeky hashtag replay. And that way we're going to spread this message as far in the community as we can. So I was thinking about emotional intimacy, as I so often am. And I was thinking in my mind, there are different ways that we can go about creating emotional intimacy in our relationship. There are different roads to Rome. And something that really struck me was that there are two main approaches that I see coaches or mentors suggesting, advocating. And they fall into two separate categories, and those are the inside out approach to creating intimacy and the outside in approach to creating intimacy. So just notice in yourself if you're feeling like an intuitive sense of what they mean. I'm guessing that you might do. But very briefly, on the one hand, we have this inside out approach to intimacy, which says that we can create more intimacy in our relationship by creating changes, by transforming things within ourselves. And that cascades into our life, that cascades into our relationship, and it starts inspiring and welcoming and attracting and creating more emotional intimacy just by making these inner transformations. And then in the other camp, we have this idea that emotional intimacy is created by doing external practices. So by doing the things that then kind of kickstart the sense of intimacy. And both of these are totally valid. Both of them are totally useful in your journey of creating more emotional intimacy. And I really want to take the time to address each of these separately. And we're going to start in a little bit of a backwards kind of Alice in Wonderland style. We are going to start with what I consider to be the dessert, which is the outside in approaches to creating intimacy. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And then in our tomorrow's video, we're going to be talking about the inside out. We're going to be going from dessert to the main course, from dessert to the part that for me is actually really substantial, really important, and absolutely essential to having long-lasting intimacy within a long-term relationship. But today we're going to start with the dessert, because I just think it's fun and I think it's great to land in the place of the heart of what is what's at the heart of emotional intimacy. I really want to land there with you, sister, tomorrow. So today we're going to be talking about the outside in approach to building more intimacy, what you can do in your life to invite more emotional intimacy, the practices, the actions that you can take by yourself or with your partner to kind of kickstart that sense of momentum, to kickstart that sense of, oh, I'm feeling closer to you now that we've done this action. So if you are watching and you have a practice or something that you like to do in your relationship that really has you feeling very connected with your partner, I would love for you to share it in the comments, share it with the rest of the community, share your wisdom and your experience with us. And I have 4 exercises that I would love to share with you, 4 practices that I love to apply in my relationship life. And I'm going to talk a little bit about each one of these, and you can let me know if you've tried these, if you have, what result has that created? And if you haven't tried these already, which one are you excited to try the most? Okay, so the first one that we're going to talk about is one that you've probably heard before, and that is the idea of having a date night. Okay, so let me know if you're watching this video live or in the replay, do you and your partner do date nights? Did you and your last partner do date nights if you're single now? Did you and your last partner do date nights? Have you ever made a date night or a date day a priority in your life? So I know for me, the experience of having date nights is so important for me because it allows me to have a space where we prioritize our relationship. Okay, so often we kind of get into our relationship and we kind of get a little bit complacent. Right? So we're spending time together. We're doing the things, we're doing the life things. If we have kids, we're looking after the kids. If we live together, we're watching Netflix or cooking together or whatever it is that we do. But there's a sense that, at the beginning of our relationship, usually, often, we're quite intentional about spending time together, about having that uninterrupted quality time together. And if that's a love language of yours, I know it's one of mine, this idea of date nights could be really powerful for you or for your partner if that's their love language. Because a date night gives you or a date day gives you the opportunity to actually start as a team getting really intentional about the time that you spend together so that you can decide, we're going to spend this time together. And it's not about the kids. It's not about the house. It's not about kind of low level pleasure like watching Netflix, for example. It's about us really prioritizing our joy, our fun, whatever that looks like for us. And would really love to say here that a date night or a date day doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't need to be you going out for dinner. It doesn't need to be you going out to the cinema or whatever idea may come to your mind. If this is something that you are kind of curious about, I would love to ask you, what would a great date night or date day, what would a great experience be for you to share with your partner? What kind of things do you enjoy? And this can be really anything. It can be something you do at home. It can be something you do outside of the home. It can be something that seems kind of geeky and silly and funny or strange to another person. But to you, it's really pleasurable. And what kind of things does your partner really enjoy doing? And how can you get those two preferences and kind of fit them together in this really fun way to create a date, night, day, event, moment together? I would love to hear, is this something that you do already? Do you do it once a week? Is it not as regular as that? What experience do you have with date days or date nights? And how does that leave you feeling at the end of that experience with your partner? I would love, love, love to hear. So the second activity that I find really encourages and welcomes and invites a sense of emotional intimacy, particularly emotional intimacy with your partner. And this may sound a little similar to date nights, but it's actually really different, is coffee catch-ups, or I call them coffee catch-ups because I really love to be sitting with someone. I really love to be kind of having like coffee in a cafe and being sat opposite someone, but it could be walking along the beach together. But the point of these catch-ups is that you are specifically meeting with your partner to discuss your relationship, to check in with each other. Like, how has our relationship been for you this week? How have you been feeling? Are we feeling connected? Are we feeling kind of disconnected? Are we stressed? What do we want to maybe work on a little bit for next week? And it might be that it's too overwhelming for you to do it once a week. Maybe that you like to do it once a month. But these coffee catch-ups, they're very different from date nights, because date nights are all about pleasure. They're all about forgetting your troubles, playing together. I'm just replaying the hair flick there. That's quite funny. But they're all about, like, you enjoying yourself and letting go of the troubles, letting go of the challenges. And the coffee catch-ups are much more about you being present with where your relationship is at and sharing that with your partner and having that kind of communication. And the reason that I find these catch-ups to be so emotionally connecting is because it affirms the reality and the feeling that we are a couple, we are a partnership, we work on this thing together. And that is such an important part of feeling emotionally connected with your partner, is we've got each other's backs. We understand what's going on for each other on a deeper level. We understand what we both want and what we're both scared of, and how we're both feeling. So those kind of conversations in my experience, can be really transformative, and not having them only when there's a moment of crisis, right? So like leaving it until something happens and then having the important conversation, but actually baking in these moments of having catch-ups. Hey, Lisa. Baking in these moments of connection and checking in with each other ahead of time, so that you can feel connected with your partner throughout your relationship. So just for Lisa and for anyone else who's coming today, we are talking about practices that you can apply to feel more emotionally connected with your partner. And we're really focusing not so much on the inside out approach to intimacy, but we're actually focusing on the kind of more, I like to think of them as more fun, outside in approaches. So what are the activities that we can do together, either in our current relationship or if we're single in our next relationship, that will create a sense of connection, that will kind of bring us into that feeling of, okay, we're really connected today. So we have so far been talking about date nights and coffee catch-ups, which are quite different. And if you're watching this and you're only just tuning in, then feel free to catch up with us on that. We're now moving into one that I really enjoy, and it's something that I have only recently discovered, to tell you the truth. And this is the practice of making space for your sensuality together. So if you're watching live or on the replay, let me know, is this something that you and your partner, or you and your last partner, or you and your future partner want to be getting really intentional about? It amazes me that as a society, we don't talk very much about sex, and we don't talk very much about our relationship to sex in a relationship. So for me, I spent the first 28-ish years of my life, more than that, kind of being very unconscious about the way that I approach sex. So my experience, and let me know if this is similar to yours or different to yours, my experience was that we get into a relationship and then we just kind of do what feels right or doesn't feel right. And if we have resentments, then we just don't really know what to do with them. And we have different types of things that turn us on, different, I don't like the term sex drive, but different ways, like routes to arousal and things like that. But we don't really talk about it. We don't come up with a plan together. And something that I have discovered in more recent years is that a practice that can be so much fun, I think, especially for us as women, because we do have such complex sexuality, is to create a space in our relationship where this is the space that we have for sensual play. So for me personally, I really like to create a day, like to have a day, or to have, maybe a day is a bit ambitious, but to have an afternoon where we put aside the time for our sensuality. And this doesn't mean that it has to end up in sex or penetration or anything like that. In fact, sometimes the more rewarding experience is when we go into this space with an attitude of, this is the space that we go to play. This is the place where we go, where we, Lisa's saying very ambitious, a full day. Yes. But what I love about being intentional about this afternoon is that we can then really free up the rest of the week. So the rest of the week we can have sex or not have sex, or kind of have lazy sex or whatever kind of sex, but this is the day. This is the day where we really show up together. This is the day where we try something new. This is the day where we put on some music. This is the day where we unplug from the stresses. We really show up with each other. We cuddle. We do whatever it is that has us feeling more deeply connected. Because here's the thing. Having a sexual experience is not the same as feeling emotionally and sensually connected. So for me, it is so important to have that space that is for us, where we're going to show up for it. We're going to arrive and to see where that leads. So I would love to hear, is that something that you do in your relationship? Is that something that you have done before? And if so, how has that impacted your feeling of being connected with your partner. And Lisa is saying here that by being intentional, we actually get to learn what the other person likes. And it amazes me how often we can be in a relationship with someone, and because there's a certain script in our heads about what sex is and what sex isn't, we don't actually know what each other likes. We don't actually know what we like, because in order to discover that, we really have to throw away the rule book, and we really have to get intimate and go deeper with ourselves and with our partner. So I love this as a way to get connected. I would love to hear what your experience with that is as well. And the final practice that I really love, and this again feeds into the physical ways to connect, but I wonder if you've experienced this before, is the experience of eye gazing. So I love eye gazing, and not just with my partner. I've done this in non-sexual containers as well. But the experience of eye gazing is something quite intense. If you've ever tried to do that with someone, you will often find that you'll feel a sense of, oh my God, I need to look away. This is getting a little bit intense, because you're being seen. And you're seeing your partner, and you're seeing them see you. So it's like layer upon layer of being seen. Now, something that I really love to do is I love to do eye gazing first thing in the morning. The reason that I love to do it first thing in the morning is because we're in that space between being together. Let's say if you sleep in the same bed, you are together, and you're now going to go off into your separate directions. You're going to go off into your days. It's a point of connection and disconnection, where you're going from being together to being apart. And just think back on how powerful it is when you actually use that moment as a way to connect, instead of just rolling out of bed, going to your separate ways, and kind of feeling quite disconnected from your partner. So for me, I love to use that moment as an opportunity for eye gazing. You can do other things. You could use that moment to have breakfast together, or talk together, or massage each other, or share what you've got planned for the day, or anything like that. But there's something so embodied about eye gazing first thing in the morning when you're still in that kind of half sleepy state, and you turn to your partner and basically you just gaze into their eyes. So you might like to set a little timer. 3 minutes maybe would be a good place to start, or if that feels too intense for you or your partner, you could try and start with a minute, and just land. Just breathe. Just be with each other. No words. No, what's the word? No motive, no goal. Just being. And for me, that is such a juicy little way to create that little spark of connection, that little spark of, oh, you are this human being who maybe I've been with for 8 years, 10 years, 20 years, or 2 years. But every day I get to discover you in a slightly new way, because I get to really, really look at you. And I just love that little practice. And I'm just catching up with some of the comments here. So we've got, I was at a womb clearing workshop. Wow, that feels so powerful. And each of us gazed into each other's eyes and told each other what we saw in her. Okay, I love this. This is a nice little addition if you want to add to this experience, is to maybe share something that you appreciate about your partner, or something that they appreciate about you. And I'm also reading here Exactly. That eye gazing in the morning is wonderful because you get to do it before the day has kind of taken you and brought you into that like daylight energy, you know, where you're super wired and you've got things to do, right? And it's much more of that sense of I'm just here, I'm just present. Okay. So I would love to hear, what do these practices bring up for you? Which of these practices feels the most kind of exciting? Which is why I said this is like the fun, the outside in approach, I think of as the fun approach to creating intimacy. It is the dessert approach, it's the cherry on the top approach. And which of these feels most fun for you? Which of these would you like to try in your relationship or in your next relationship? I would love to hear. And tomorrow I'm going to be coming in again into the group to do another live video. I'm going to be doing the part 2 in this series, and we're going to be flipping from the dessert to the main course because we're doing it backwards. And we're going to be talking about the inside out approach to building more intimacy. So if you liked this video, if you loved this video, if it's resonating with you, if you are the woman who wants more emotional intimacy in your relationship or in your next relationship, then check out my video tomorrow, because this video that I'm going to be doing is so important. It is the beating heart of what intimacy really is. Because as much as these kind of practices create that sense of connection, they bring us back into that place of connection, there is something more fundamental that is needed to create intimacy. Okay, so these other things, these practices are great for maintaining intimacy. They're great for bringing us back into connection. And there is something that is even more powerful, a little bit challenging, definitely the right side of risky, and is going to deepen your relationship, not only with your partner, but also with yourself, just immensely, intensely, all of the Lees. So I'm going to share that with you tomorrow, sister. If you like this video, let me know. If you want me to tag you in tomorrow's video so that you don't miss it, then let me know that as well. And I'm just reading this. Always more fun to have the dessert before the main meal. That's what I thought as well. So I'm sending so much love to you, Lisa, and anyone else who's watching this on the replay. And I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you again in the group tomorrow. Much love. Mwah!